British Prime Minister David Cameron has promised the country will work closely with its allies to destroy terrorist group Islamic State. He says the UK will not stand by and watch the group threaten British people. Cameron also paid tribute to David Haines, who was executed by the group. Let's go live now to London. We speak to our UK correspondent Olly Barratt. A very good morning to you, Olly. What has been the reaction from people on the ground in Britain to the story?
As you can imagine, there's been a great deal of shock at this latest video from the Islamic State. The death of a British citizen had been threatened, and it now appears to have been carried out, and as a result, people here are very dismayed about this story and about the increasing British links to it. Of course, the militant in the video again appears to be British, and the militants are threatening now to execute next another British citizen who is believed to be a taxi driver from the Manchester area in the north of England who had been in the region helping with aid work when he was kidnapped. So yes, there's a great deal of shock and dismay here in the UK about this story, and a lot of focus now on David Cameron's words and exactly what that might mean about what Britain might do next in terms of battling the Islamic State in Syria and Iraq.
What's the sentiment out there, Olly? Do they feel that not enough is being done fast enough to tackle Islamic State? Because we're now possibly going to see a fourth person, and we know that they do mean what they say.
Yeah, I mean, there is a sense in which people would very much like the British government and special forces and the British military to go after the Islamic State, in particular these people who appear to have this group of hostages. But I think there's also an understanding that this is an incredibly difficult thing to do, and also an understanding that this is probably going on behind the scenes anyway. We know that in recent months there was a US-led operation to try and free some of these hostages, including, of course, the American journalist James Foley, who was earlier killed by IS. That was unsuccessful. So I think people appreciate that things are being done behind the scenes to try and identify this group of people holding hostages and to try and rescue any more that they may have. In terms of more concerted action against the Islamic State, there is talk now of Britain involving itself in airstrikes in the region, but we haven't quite got to that point just yet. And David Cameron, the British Prime Minister, knows that there is still a lot of unease in this country after Iraq, after Afghanistan, about the involvement in military actions in that part of the world. So it's a very difficult line for the Prime Minister to walk. There is a lot of pressure on him from all sorts of different directions. I think he would ideally like not to be involved in military action, but to be involved in this coalition against the Islamic State in other ways, providing support, logistics, humanitarian aid. But the pressure is mounting on him.
Olly, we do understand there is a conference happening in Paris today. What do we know about who's going, what's going to be discussed? It is about Islamic State.
That's absolutely right. The British will be represented. US Secretary of State John Kerry will be there as well. There will be, crucially, representation from countries in the Middle East. And this is a growing and important part of this story. David Cameron, US President Barack Obama really hope that they can get a series of Middle Eastern countries signed up. And the Americans say they have volunteers from the Middle East saying that they will involve themselves in military action against the Islamic State, against ISIS. For David Cameron here in the UK, he says that is absolutely crucial, to have a coalition of countries willing to take on IS in the region, and that it must involve regional players. So you can expect a lot of the talk in Paris today to be about exactly what to do, but even more crucially perhaps about who exactly will be involved in doing it.
Now, we've also seen there have been threats against Australians who are also involved in certain missions. Is there a concern among the British people, like you say, they're worried about the links to Britain, that it is British nationals who are being recruited into IS as well? Is there a concern that they might take this out of where they are and actually bring it into the UK, that people in the UK might start to become targets at some point? Are they scared?
Absolutely, there is that concern. You have to understand that many of these fighters, and please believe hundreds of Britons have travelled to fight with the Islamic State in Syria and Iraq. Many of them have already returned home to the UK. So there are people in the UK, as we speak, who have fought with militants in that region and who have now returned home. So police are on extra alert to try and identify some of those people and to keep an eye on them, but also to keep an eye on any others who try now and return home from the region, having fought with the Islamic State. Many of them may come back and not want to do any harm here, but that is a real concern, that people will return from the region and try and bring these attacks onto British soil. And that's one of the reasons that David Cameron has been so clear in the words that he's been putting out there, that Britain is under threat from the Islamic State. It's not a problem confined to the Middle East. Now, the UK is well used to terrorist threats, but yes, absolutely, people here are concerned about that. They are concerned about strikes on British soil, and the terror threat level in this country has recently been raised to its second highest level, meaning that a terrorist attack on British soil is thought to be highly likely.
Thank you very much for your time. eNCA's UK correspondent Olly Barratt for us this morning.